Welcome. In this training video, you will learn, as the plaintiff, how to use TurboCourt's online dispute resolution to negotiate with the defendant to reach an agreement so that you can avoid going to trial at court. After successfully filing your claim with the court against the defendant, you will receive this Notice to Plaintiff of Online Dispute Resolution. It explains how you have to serve your claim on the defendant. It also explains that you must register for online dispute resolution, otherwise known as ODR, so you can negotiate with the defendant to try to reach an agreement. It also explains how ODR works and other important information. The notice includes the link to register for ODR in TurboCourt for Pierce County. Going to this website, it will take you to TurboCourt where you will register for ODR. If you are a first-time user of TurboCourt, you'll need to register with TurboCourt by clicking the Sign Up button. Provide your name, email address, and create a password. Optionally, you can select a security question and corresponding answer in case you forget your password. And then click Sign Up. Register as either an individual or a business. These are the only options currently available for your location. To complete your TurboCourt registration, you would click Continue. Once you are registered, you'll receive a confirmation email. If you're not a first-time TurboCourt user, simply enter your email address and password to log in. Once you are logged in, click Next. Enter your case number that appears on your filed claim, and then click Next. The introduction page provides lots of helpful information, including frequently asked questions on the right side. You can click on any of these FAQs and see the corresponding answer. From the introduction page, click Next to continue. You will see your case information presented. Choose your role. If you happen to represent an organization or a business, you'll then be asked to provide your first and last name and check the box confirming you're an authorized agent for this firm. For this particular training, I will be the plaintiff. Once you've selected your role and click Next, you are provided additional important information regarding ODR. After you click Next on this screen, you will then be registered for ODR for this dispute. It's that simple. You can see a summary of your case information if you'd like by simply clicking the View link off on the right. You can click the Enter Negotiation link to enter the ODR area to negotiate with the other parties. If the defendant has not yet registered for ODR, you'll have to wait for them to do so before you can actually begin negotiating. If you do enter the ODR negotiation area before the defendant registers for ODR, it will look like this. As you can see, the status of your negotiations is pending, and you are the only party shown in the ODR area at this time. When the defendant does register for ODR, you will see their name in the ODR area and you can begin negotiating. Notice the status of your dispute is now negotiation in progress. An important thing to note is that once both sides have registered for ODR, you will have 72 hours to complete your negotiations. Let's look at the negotiation area. At the top, in addition to showing the status of your negotiations, you see your case number, resolution deadline, and claim amount. If you move your mouse over the What Can I Do Here link, it describes everything you can do on this negotiation tab. Let's imagine now that the defendant has sent you a chat message and added negotiation terms for you to consider. You can see that they've sent you a message in the chat area. You can also see their proposed terms. Your original claim is $4,870. They're offering to pay you $3,900 in $1,300 installments. The first will be paid on December 5th, and the remaining payments will be made on the 5th of each month. Before we respond to the defendant, let's quickly look at how you are notified when the defendant adds or makes changes to their negotiation terms. Each time the defendant updates their negotiation terms, you will be notified by email and/or text. Here we see the email you received when the defendant updates their negotiation terms. If you aren't already logged into ODR, you can click on this TurboCourt ODR website link in this email to return to your negotiations. Enter your username, your email address, and password for TurboCourt. Make sure the Login as Mediator box is not checked, and click Login. And here you are right back in ODR, where you can see the changes or additions that the defendants made. If you are willing to accept that offer, you can simply click the Resolve button. But if you would like to offer a counter offer, then you can do so here in your negotiation terms side of the negotiations. Let's enter a counter offer of $4,200. You don't have to add the $ or commas if you don't want to. Indicate if you are willing to accept installment payments, and if you are, what's the minimum monthly amount that you're willing to accept? When you are done, click Save and Notify. The other parties are notified via email and/or text that you've updated your negotiation terms. To send a message to the other parties, you use the chat area. Type your message in the message box at the bottom of the chat area and click the Send button. When you're ready to send it, click the Send icon. You can also add an attachment to the chat area, which the other parties will see. To do so, click the Add Attachment link. Select the file you want to attach. You can even take a photo with your phone or tablet and attach it. Once you've attached your file, click the Send icon. Your chat message and file will be seen by the other side. It looks like the defendant has agreed to your counteroffer, and they have updated their negotiation terms to match. This is important because when you and the defendant have come to an agreement, the defendant must update their side of the negotiation terms to show what you have agreed to. The settlement agreement document that will be generated is based on the terms on the defendant's side. There is also an additional terms tab. You can add more negotiation terms and other terms if needed. These will be added to the settlement agreement also. To learn about adding additional terms, see the separate video training for that. Once you and the defendant have reached an agreement and updated the terms on the defendant's side, it's time to have the settlement agreement generated. As the plaintiff, click the Resolve button. There are two options, agreement reached and agreement not reached. To see what to do if you and the defendant are not able to come to an agreement, watch the short training video for when an agreement is not reached. However, in this scenario, you and the defendant did come to an agreement, so select the Agreement Reached option and click Continue. TurboCourt ODR immediately creates the court document called Stipulation by Parties Settlement Reached, which appears under the Resolution tab. To view the agreement, click on the document link. Notice the dollar amounts and dates that have been entered into the agreement. Again, it's important to remember that this agreement is based on the final negotiation terms that were listed on the defendant's side. So be sure those are correct before you click the Resolve button. If for any reason you need to update the settlement agreement or something has changed and you and the defendant are no longer in agreement, you can click the Withdraw Agreement button. In that situation, if there is still time remaining in the 72 hours you have to reach an agreement, you can have TurboCourt ODR generate a new settlement agreement and submit it to the defendant. Okay, now that the settlement agreement is created, click the Send for Review button. This will notify the defendant to review the agreement and electronically sign it. The agreement has been sent to the defendant. Notice that you have already electronically signed it, and that you are waiting for the defendant to review and sign it themselves. Notice also that the status is now Agreement Pending. Once the defendant agrees and electronically signs the settlement agreement, you will see here that they have accepted the agreement, and the status is now Agreement Reached. To see the agreement, now click on it once again, and you will see your digital signatures. Read the text at the top of the screen. It says you need to submit the agreement to the court by clicking the Submit to Court button. It also says you may need to submit other documents to the court and to follow the post-settlement instructions. These you will receive by email. Now we'll click the Submit to Court button. In the table, you see it shows that the agreement was e-filed. And you now have a unique TurboCourt form set number that identifies this e-filed agreement with the court. The defendant will receive an email confirmation that includes a link to this e-filed settlement agreement. You too will also receive an email confirmation that it was e-filed with the court. Now you simply await further instructions and the court's decision regarding your case. Congratulations, you have now successfully used TurboCourt ODR to negotiate your dispute and reach an agreement without having to go to trial. A quick note, if 72 hours pass after the parties have registered for ODR and no agreement document has been sent to the court, then the time to resolve the dispute through ODR expires, and the court will schedule a trial date and notify you and the defendant.